Hey guys, so this has been a long time coming. I have several videos on TikTok and just spread out everywhere, but I really don't have a video that is just my full story. And so today I decided that I was going to record that for you guys because I've had so many people ask me for a video or a written of exactly what happened to me. So today I want to share with you guys my story. It's a lot and it's long, so I'm going to try to do my best with being as detailed as possible. So I'm going to give you a huge trigger warning. The end is beautiful, but it is very hard, to listen to some of these symptoms. So my story started 22 years ago. I was just a teenager. Had a really bad breakup, and in that breakup there was I was only like 17 years old, and there was a lot of physical and mental abuse. So I went to the doctor because I had a lot of anxiety after we broke up, and I had a panic attack. And I went to the doctor, and they prescribed me antidepressants and benzos. They said, that would help the anxiety and the depression and all the things. They never said anything about therapy. They never said anything about anything other than this medication would help me. So, we believe our doctors, right? They signed an agreement of do no harm. And I started the antidepressant, and it was an antidepressant and Xanax as needed. So I started that, and that began my journey. I was only 17. I didn't know better. I was young and wanted to live my life like all teenagers do. Well, pretty quickly, the medication did not agree with me. I did not take the Xanax long. I just took it as needed, and then I just quit it, and I didn't take it anymore until years later. But the antidepressant, I started it within 6 months. I was already starting to have side effects. And what I know now, that I was continuously reaching a tolerance. And so over a period of 20 years, I was on every antidepressant that was available up until 2018. They switched me around or upped my dose, for 20 years. And it never worked. It never helped. In fact, I started getting all these diagnoses of agoraphobia, of social anxiety, of panic disorder, of depression, of OCD. And then it started manifesting physically. But that was after the benzo was added back. And I had been on the antidepressant for 10 years, and then they added the benzo back in, and I was on Ativan for 10 years, 4 milligrams. So I was on an antidepressant at a high dose that they continued to switch me around, and I was on Ativan 4 milligrams. As the journey continued, I was diagnosed. I had gained about 80 or 90 pounds. I was up to 240 pounds at my highest weight. When I started this journey, I was only 120 pounds. So I got up to 240. I developed high blood pressure, diabetes, asthma, all these physical elements, and then all the mental diagnoses as well. But not for a minute did it ever help me. They just continued to prescribe and switch me around and up my dose, and I continued to get more diagnoses of everything that you can possibly think of. Well, in 2018, I was having very high heart rate, where it was staying in the 160s to 180s. I went to my doctor, and she wanted me to go to the hospital by ambulance because she couldn't get it down. I refused, but I did go to the ER. There, they diagnosed me with serotonin syndrome, which I still have no idea if I had or I didn't, because I wasn't on more than one antidepressant. I was only on one. And normally you have to take multiple for serotonin syndrome to develop. But they cold turkeyed me in that ER off my antidepressant after 20 years of use. And I left the hospital. And for the next, I'd say 8 to 12 weeks, I was okay. Everything was okay. Until it wasn't. And about 8 weeks after, things started to get very, very bad. And it rapidly declined. I became completely bedridden with POTS. I didn't know who my children were. I couldn't feed myself. I couldn't bathe myself. I had neuropathy so bad in my feet and my hands and in my face that I couldn't feel anything. It was completely numb. I was dissociated. I couldn't sleep. I had every kind of symptom you could possibly imagine. Akathisia. Terror at levels that I didn't know existed. Agoraphobia. All these symptoms that just developed and just hit me all at once. And so for the next 6 months, I was catatonic. I had to be held just to calm down. I had to be fed. I had to be bathed all in bed. I couldn't do any of that by myself, and I couldn't see people. I couldn't see my kids. I couldn't see my family, because any kind of stimulation would send me over the edge. So only one person could be in here at a time. And when they came in, it was just to care for me, to help me to eat or bathe. And I couldn't talk on the phone. I couldn't listen to music. I couldn't watch TV. I couldn't read. I couldn't do any of that. I was completely disabled. Well, shortly after that, I met 2 friends. After I was able to, do a little more where I wasn't completely out of it, I would say. So I was finding these groups on Facebook, and that's when I realized what happened to me. I had no idea that, you couldn't cold turkey an antidepressant until I found the groups. And then I met 2 girls who were also going through this, and we immediately connected. I also realized at that time when I was in those groups that the benzo that I was on was just as dangerous, and that I had to taper it in a very bad, dysregulated state. because it was just hurting me more than it was helping me at the time. I was in a severe tolerance. When I took it, it was almost paradoxical. So I started a taper at 10 months after my cold turkey to come off the 4 milligrams of the benzo. And I sit with these girls, these 2 women, every day for 5 years, even in the night. And we just laid in bed. We were all bedridden. I was bedridden for 4 years. I was completely homebound for 5. I had 75 plus symptoms. There wasn't a symptom that I didn't have. It was the most horrific thing that a human being can endure. And many nights, many days, I thought I was going to die. I had planned my funeral so that my family wouldn't have to, because I thought it was the end. But little did I know that there was an end to it and that I was going to make it there. But the fear and the panic and the terror and the akathisia, it just was so much that I could not see the lights. I could not see that there was an end. I was so blinded by all the bad, all the darkness, that I thought that there was no possible way that someone like me, completely bedridden and unable to even put her feet in the grass, would get through this and heal. But I held on to my faith with everything I had. And some days, holding on to my faith looked like me just saying, Jesus. It wasn't this long out prayer and me worshiping him. It was just saying his name. And some days it was not at all. It was just laying here, waiting for him to come take me. But he had bigger plans for my life. And so as time went, I continued to suffer with so many symptoms. And I just continued to lay here until I started researching, until I started to go deep within and be like, what's going to happen if I continue to lay here and do nothing to help myself? Am I still going to heal? And I knew that I would. I knew that I would eventually heal after time went on and I met other people and I seen them heal. I knew that I would too. But the longevity of it, I was battle fatigued. I was so tired that I didn't want to go on. I didn't want to continue the fight day after day, Groundhog's Day, every single day. And so I decided to take my power back the best that I could, a little at a time. And that's going to look different for every person. For me, it simply was started by going to the bathroom to brush my teeth instead of in the bed. And then I worked with David Powers. And then I started going to my mailbox. And over time, I just added a little bit more and a little bit more. I walked more. I did more. I started moving my body, and I had severe mast cell throughout the whole entire time that I went through this. So I was only eating 5 foods the whole entire time that I went through it. And I lost 110 pounds pretty quickly within 9 months of coming off the medication. So I was eating clean. I started moving my body more. I learned about somatics, and somatics was life-changing for me. I started expressing gratitude and journaling and doing inner child work. I started saying affirmations and spoke life over myself instead of death. I changed the way I talked about myself. I changed the way I thought about myself. And slowly but surely, things began to improve. The agoraphobia was a beast. It was a beast. And I'm still working on that. That's, what remains, but it also was here before the withdrawal. So it was a very learned behavior at this point. But I'm not where I was. I'm not bedridden. I'm not homebound. I can leave my house. I can go in my yard. And I'm making progress every day, improving the agoraphobia. But I'm just here to tell you, I was bad off. I was pretty severe. Bedridden, catonic, homebound, 5 foods, insomnia, akathisia, POTS, hyperglycemia. For a good while. But I came back from it all. And you can too. I knew throughout this journey that God had a plan for me. And I knew that if I survived it, that I was going to come back and help the rest. And that's what I did. I came back. And now I coach the people who were just like me, suffering and afraid. I'm here to give you hope. I'm here to tell you that this is not the end, that there is so much life on the other side of this. And even though it doesn't feel that way right now, even though it feels so dark and you are so afraid, I was too. And I'm lifting out my hand to you to tell you there is light at the end of this. This isn't where you will stay for the rest of your life. You just have to keep fighting. You have to keep going. You have to reach deep within yourself, into your faith, into your belief, and know that there's another side to this. It doesn't matter what your story is. It doesn't matter how many meds you were on or how long you were on them, or if you cold turkeyed, or if you tapered, or if you're bedridden, or if you're out, if you have trauma or you don't. All of it is healable. And if you have Jesus, you have everything. So I just wanted to share my story with all of you guys. I just wanted to tell you that I was at the bottom, about as low as you can get, with every symptom that you can possibly imagine, to the point I knew no one. Not walking, not talking, not moving. To where I am today. Breathing, talking, living, working. All of the things eating whatever I want to eat. You will get there too. You just have to hold on. And just know that there is an end to this.